Keep your eye on the monitor and be careful with the lights. The Five Nights at Freddy's animatronics are looking creepier than ever. Here's the who's who of Freddy Fazbear and friends.
Have you met them yet?
Met who?
Though one of the original animatronics for the pizza restaurant, after only 4 years, the classic brown bear Freddy was replaced by an animatronic called Toy Freddy, rather than fix the original animatronics, which had fallen into a state of disrepair in the first years of the restaurant's existence. Because, you know, horror, a newer version was developed. And by newer, we mean more terrifying. Freddy Fazbear is thought to be a later iteration of Fredbear, an animatronic for Fredbear's Family Diner. That's the restaurant that preceded Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. This version of the animatronic is introduced in the 4th game of the franchise, during which he appears as Nightmare Fredbear. And though they share an appearance, it has not been confirmed that Freddy and Fredbear are one and the same. Despite fan theories, Fredbear was a spring-lock animatronic, meaning someone could jump inside of the animatronic and wear it like a costume. The animatronic had 2 separate modes to allow this, and to ensure that whoever was using it as a costume would not be injured by the mechanics of the animatronic portion. The same, however, could not be said for people outside of the costume. You see, there is controversy surrounding Fredbear. While the family diner was in operation, a child was forced by bullies to put his head in Fredbear's mouth, leading to the death of the child. An infamous event that became known as the Bite of 83. This also resulted in the closing of Fredbear's family diner, and the rebranding into Freddy Fazbear's Pizza shortly after. Like Freddy, Bonnie the Rabbit is one of the OG animatronics of the restaurant chain. Though Bonnie was replaced with a toy version at one point, the rabbit animatronic is typically depicted as a bluish-purple in the games with a red bow tie. It was this version of Bonnie that debuted when the pizzeria opened its doors, though after only 4 years, the animatronic was retired in favor of the toy version. Bonnie's first iteration was introduced when Fredbear's Family Diner reopened, referred to as Spring Bonnie. This first animatronic was yellowish in color and sported a purple bow tie. Spring Bonnie has a spring lock mechanism that allows someone to hide inside the animatronic, which was used for nefarious purposes by series antagonist William Afton. Bonnie is the guitarist of the band and is considered the most active of the bunch, regularly seeking out anyone in the pizzeria to kill. Imagine characters' fright when the first animatronic to show that it can move turns out to be the cutesy, innocent-looking rabbit. Okay, maybe the phrase innocent-looking is up for debate, but you get the point. It is important to note that despite commonly being the aggressor of the animatronics, Bonnie is also the first to admit defeat. While he will go after people within the pizzeria, if deterred, he will step back and move on. At least for the time being, that is.
There have been customer complaints about Chica's acrid smell. Sounds like Chica has been rummaging around the kitchen again.
Like fellow animatronic fiends Freddy and Bonnie, Chica has gone through several iterations over the course of the franchise. Chica carries around another character, Mr. Cupcake, who we'll get to in a bit. Chica's appearance differs a bit from the other animatronics, sporting a bib with the phrase, "Let's eat," rather than a bow tie. Instead of an instrument or microphone, Chica holds a plate with a cupcake. Like the others, she was replaced with a toy model only a few years into the opening of the pizzeria. As the backup singer of the band, Chica doesn't always have her eyes on the prize. As a cupcake might suggest, Chica tends to go for food over a human, which is a phrase that could only exist when talking about FNAF. Chica also has a bit more patience than her other mascots, often standing in place and waiting by a door, so long as she isn't distracted. Foxy the Pirate Fox is an animatronic with a bit of a different story than the others. While Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica are all in a band together on a stage, Foxy has a swashbuckling stage of his own. Foxy goes all in on the Captain Sparrow cosplay with an eye patch and a hook for a hand, because what pirate would be complete without those? However, his initial condition is a bit more concerning, as even before he is replaced with a toy version and takes on his weathered incarnation, he looks a little worse for wear. His fur is shredded, there are holes in the metal covering his body, and his jaw appears broken due to the way it hangs. Like his fellow animatronic monstrosities, Foxy's whole vibe doesn't exactly scream kid-friendly. When he was replaced as part of the toy versions, his new animatronic counterpart was given the name Mangle, which, yeah, would say that one's on the nose given its dismantled appearance. This was because it was decided that the original Foxy design was a bit too scary for the establishment, and Mangle was an attempt to rebrand the character into a more child-friendly animatronic. Because, you know, Mangle is such a G-rated name and all. Chica will wait you out, Freddy will taunt you, and Bonnie will show no mercy. But Foxy will run at you, faster than any of the other animatronics can. He tends to run down the hall in the first game, appearing out of thin air, because what better way for players to break in those new brown pants? Often held by Chica, Mr. Cupcake, aka Carl, is in the cupcake of every birthday child's dreams, despite his innocent-sounding name. With pink frosting, large eyes, and a single candle on top, the delicious treat can have a mind of its own on occasion. Because the only thing scarier than being attacked by the entertainment is finding yourself at the mercy of devious animatronic dessert. Mr. Cupcake's role in the games changes often. From hanging in a security office to being a movable object players can throw in Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted. There has been much debate in the franchise over the last several years about who the game's so-called vengeful spirit is and which animatronic it resides in. A fan theory, as proposed by the YouTube channel Cthulhu's Labs, posits that it's actually Mr. Cupcake. The theory combines knowledge that the working title of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie was Bad Cupcake, as seen in a film slate posted by Jason Blum on Twitter, and the Cupcake's appearances across FNAF's many entries. As far as the choice to use Mr. Cupcake for the working title of the movie rather than one of the other animatronics, the individuals in the video argue that it is unlike FNAF creator Scott Cawthon to select a title that doesn't have a backhanded meaning, causing them to think more about a character that players may forget about. Mr. Cupcake is also the only animatronic that's already in the office during the game. While your goal is to prevent the other animatronics from entering the office, Mr. Cupcake is already there. This could be an indicator that the worst bad guy was hiding in plain sight all along. Springtrap is an animatronic that appears in Five Nights at Freddy's 3. He is thought to be an early version of Bonnie or another version of Spring Bonnie. Springtrap's exterior is littered with holes, and it is even missing the metal covering on most of its legs and feet, which simulates a sort of skeletal appearance. Springtrap also doesn't have the bow tie seen in other rabbit animatronics in the series, so he's keeping things business casual, even if he's in the business of scaring the bejesus out of players. Unlike some of the other animatronics which have mouths that move, Springtrap's mouth is locked into a wide smile during gameplay, showing off the animatronic's teeth. In other words, Springtrap is the definition of nightmare fuel. Springtrap's name comes from, surprise, the spring lock mechanism inside it. Like the other animatronics with the same mechanism, the mechanical components inside are modified to allow for someone to be inside the animatronic. However, the spring locks in Springtrap malfunctioned, hence the trap part of his name. Despite being the embodiment of every bad dream ever, Springtrap does have a weakness. He is attracted to noise, which can work both for and against the player depending on the situation. If the player makes noise near Springtrap in the third game, Springtrap will follow it. However, if Springtrap is distracted by sounds coming from elsewhere, the player just might have a fighting chance when it comes to surviving an encounter with him. Springtrap is the main animatronic and antagonist of the third game, with the other animatronics appearing as phantom-like entities. Springtrap's inclusion in the movie could hint at where future flicks could go, storylines that could be centered in future movies, and other variations of animatronics that could appear down the line.